And today we're going to talk about chapters 1 all the way to, I guess, 3 in Caddie Woodlawn, which is a frontier story by Carol Riley Brink. Yeah, because the print sort of goes off the cover and keeps on going to the back. So. Now, I really wanted to talk about the author's note. I mean, it's okay. Some people don't have to read it, but it's a pretty good, like a story if you want to read. Okay, chapter 1, which is called The Three Adventurers. Well, were you surprised that this book took place in 1864? Not really. First of all, it was like a frontier story. On the cover, there's a horse, somebody riding a horse, which only happened a long time ago. The dress seems a little old-fashioned. Lots of things don't seem to be really cultivated, which, you know, like, and it wasn't really like and bustling and no city. So I sort of guessed that it was a long time ago. And frontier was mostly like the frontier was mostly there in the 1800s. And now, were you surprised that this girl, right, because she was a girl, were you surprised that she was a tomboy? Not really, because I have read a lot of books about tomboys before, and do you think that, judging from the fact that she was the despair of her mother and her sister Clara, how do you think that they were? They were probably really like prim and proper with dresses and all, and they weren't tomboys and didn't run around. They were like so, stitch, 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 cook. That's probably the only thing they did. No adventure at all, which in my opinion would be really, really boring. Now, Tom, 2 years older, and Warren, 2 years younger, sort of like, you know, need a Caddie to link them together into like a chain, right? It's like there's like chain section 1, chain section 3, but there isn't chain section 2 to bind them together, and that's where Caddie comes in. Can you think of something of a similar expression or something like that? Have you ever heard of the pioneer days before? Well, if you haven't, this is a harsh thing I have to say. Study up. The pioneer days were the days when, like, so let's say that this is half history lesson and half book talk. Of course, if you know this history, then you're going to be pretty bored, so I'm going to do it pretty quick. So, back in the day when the Pilgrims came from England, right, in the Mayflower, they were like settling on colonies. There was the American Revolutionary War, which made America a country, blah, blah, blah. There were 13 colonies, and there were more and more people coming. Everything was so crowded, and finally some people in wagons were like, okay, we're going to become pioneers, and we're going to go west, because west, there was like so much land. So they went west. Problem is, the West was really, really rugged and some people died. But basically, they went west and they settled places like Wisconsin and soon enough even California, you know, probably California mostly in the gold rush. And soon enough, the West was bustling. I mean, I live in the West now. I live in California and I live in San Diego too, only 2 hours away from Los Angeles. So, yeah. I really think that is really changed from the pioneer days. But this is basically when they were pioneers. Some pioneers just settled down and lived a good life, and they're like, others kept on going west, but most pioneers would just settle down in a log cabin or something and just relax. Well, not relax, I guess, because there are lots of hazards, and you can sort of name some hazards too. Just think of hazards in nature. Yeah, storms, wild animals, fights, no food, maybe your shelter broke down, no communication, no water, maybe the Indians. I mean, the Indians or the Native Americans, they actually aren't really like bad. Well, they aren't bad at all. But back then, people didn't like Indians for some reason, and Indians were, or Native Americans, but for some reason I just like calling them Indians for some reason. The Indians or Native Americans were called savages, which I think is totally unfair. But point is, that was what they were called, and at times those people attacked the Indians attacked back, which is totally understandable, and many people died because of those massacres. Now, what do you think about these adventurers? And would you like to be an adventurer like them? And I have a question. Are you more of an adventurer or are you more of a home person? Well, I like adventure and I like hiking and I like fishing, but I also like to just curl up in a couch and read a book. That is like number 2 on the things I really, really want to do. But I also do love national parks and I love when we visit them. So it's a half-half for me. What about you? Do you think that that the Indians are going to have a massacre and where they live? I don't think so. Maybe though. I'm not very sure, but I don't really think that's gonna happen. But maybe. But probably not, because I know that some Indians were very, very friendly. And do you know what a scalp belt is? If you don't, well, basically it's pretty gruesome, but you know, Indians fought and then they cut off the hair along with some of the head, okay? And they stuck it on belts, which just made my appetite go down, so I'm not going to talk about that. And also, big mouth scared cats. I mean, it isn't like a huge, like, you said big mouth scared cats, right? It wouldn't be like that. But still, the fact that they're like big mouth scared cats, whoa. That's such a, I mean, you know, like a bit, like a bad word. What do you think that means? That probably means that a long time ago, like those small words could mean a lot. For example, just, you know, like if you just said, oh man, dang. Like if you're like saying, let's say you dropped your coffee, okay? You're like, oh man, dang it. Something like that, right? Well, dang in those days was like huge bad word. So like even big mouth scared cats, I mean, it wouldn't be the nicest thing to say, but it wouldn't be like cursing, right? But back then, it was a pretty no. And do you have in your life, or at least have you read about those kids who always tell? Not really in my life, but after you read a lot of books, there's a lot of them, I assure you. And I have a question. Do you think that virtues are always the most important thing? Because it says, here, I want to read this. Hetty's hair was red too, like father's, but somehow, in spite of her hair, she belonged on the dark-haired side of the family, where Mother and Clara and all the safe and tidy virtues were. Like virtues, you know, peace, calm, quiet, and all the other stuff. Do you think that that's always needed? No, because I mean, yeah, peace, calm, and quiet are needed, but like without some adventure in your life to to spice your life up, your life is going to be pretty boring. Just think about our life without any Yosemite to go to. Okay, some of you guys have never been to Yosemite, but I haven't. If Yosemite just disappeared, I would be heartbroken. It's really an amazing place. And also, I wanted to talk about Tom, Caddie, and Warren because they were like undressing by the river. What do you think that they were gonna do? I thought that they were going to go swimming, but instead they put their clothes in bundles and stepped out into the river with the bundles on their head. If you had been Hetty, would you have dared, or if you had been one of those 3 adventurers, would you have dared, or would you be like, never, I'm never going to do that? No, I'm not gonna do that. It's too dangerous. If I could swim, yeah, but they're walking across the river without knowing how to swim. I know how to swim, so walking across the river will be okay for me, but for somebody who doesn't know how to swim, I think it'll be really petrifying and terrifying. Though, what did you think about what they did, creeping along like that? What did you think about that plan? I thought that it was actually really genius, and I thought that it was really smart of them to do it. Would you have thought of the same way? No, I mean, there's too much of a chance that you will be swept down, and also the water might be too deep, right? So I think I would have tried to make a bridge, or I would I could just roll down some sticks. Okay, that's not the best, but maybe I would place a lot of rocks so I could walk on them, but if they were underwater, that would be too hard. Still, I would try to make a bridge before I actually try to go across the river. I think that without swimming, yeah, that's really too dangerous. And then, what did you think about the fact that they actually were visiting the Indians? Do you think that they should do that? I mean, it's okay, but how do you think that the rest of the people are going to think about it? Remember, back then, Indians were referred very unfairly as savages. People would be like, what? That you did that, right? They would be really, really surprised and probably angry. And now, what did you think about this sort of this sight into the Indian culture? What do you think? I was actually pretty impressed, Indian canoes, and I really thought that it was pretty amazing that they were even making a birch bark canoe, because I would have never thought of it in a million years, and I wonder how people never thought of it, and the Indians thought of it. They're geniuses in my opinion. And now there's Indian John stock. So from this, it seems that first of all, Caddie really likes this Indian John, and also the dog I think that the dog sort of knows Caddie because it wags his tail, which means he knows Caddie, which means that Caddie probably knows Indian John. So those are some reasoning that you can work on to see if Caddie actually knows Indian John. Now, do you think that the Indians are actually, what do you think that they're doing? When they came to the door, do you think that they should, do you think that Mrs. Woodlawn should give them food or not? Nah, they're only looking at the hair, right? It's not going to be a big deal. And also, were you surprised that, Indians were oh, red hair? Wow. Why do you think there's so much, they're wow about it? Because, it's different cultures have different hair color. Asians, people from Asia have dark hair, black hair mostly. And then, except for a few exceptions, I mean, mostly black hair, 99%, like me. In the Europe, sort of like brownish, maybe black hair. In the U.S., yeah, dark hair is really, really common. There's blonde hair, though either somebody dyed it blonde or it happened naturally, but I don't know where. And red hair, I have no earthly idea where that comes from, but the red hair, like the Native Americans have dark hair. They've never seen red before, so they're like, whoa. Brown, black, I mean, it's only a slight variation, so they wouldn't be that surprised, but red is exactly like fire, so they were like, probably wondering, is that fire or something, right? We would probably feel the same way if before the technology that we now, the technology, the history that we now know. And do you think that Indian John, if you had been Caddie, would you have thought that he was evil because he picked you up, or would you be like, oh, that's funny, and would you be laughing and be friends with Indian John in an instant? Well, I would be like, la 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 at first, but I would be a little cautious, but still, in the end, I think I would just like to learn to like Indian John a lot. So, what did you think about the canoe? Because they were really intricate, right? It was really intricate. Look, they followed him to the half-finished canoe. Grunting and grinning, the Indians took up their work. They fastened and pliable sheaths of birch bark into place on the light framework, first sewing them together with buckskin thongs, and then cementing them with the hot pitch. Would you have been able to do that? No, I would have not been able to do that. It's really, really cool in my opinion. And I have a question. Are you a creator, or are you just a person who enjoys creations? Well, I like to create things, but mostly I just enjoy creations. But though I write a lot, so I am a creator, really. But mostly I just enjoy the creations of other people. I enjoy cups to drink out of, but I actually don't really like to make cups. I enjoy markers, but I wouldn't like to make them. And I enjoy chess, but why would I want to make it? Well, yeah, it would be pretty cool, but still, I wouldn't want to make it. Now, how do you think that their mother is going to react to everything that Hetty was saying? She was like, Mother, that those three rascals were blah 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 blah. They're probably gonna. She's probably gonna be like, oh man, you're in big trouble, people. So as they were going back anyway, they found nuts, right? And do you find the food that you eat, does it come out of the wild or does it come out of the grocery store? Mostly it comes out of the grocery store, but one thing that comes out of the wild, fish. If I catch a fish, that's a miracle. But there's a really yummy kind of fish called the yellowfin croaker that I sometimes catch, and my dad also catches, and it's really, really tasty. It's great food. So it's some good food. So I eat it. And our whole parent. Sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up today. Our whole family eats that, and I have to say, for somebody who lives in a place where there's no nature, that small fish, well, it's not small, it's about this big, but anyway, that fish really is like a beacon of hope. Why? Because I know that there's nature, and it's really tasty. You should try it out. They actually sell yellowfin croaker too. And now, do you think that in the old days, like, what do you think the pioneers say? Like, where do you think they got the food? All hunting and all from the things in the wild, right? Like nuts, berries, well, water they can get from the wild, fish, everything they got to get from the wild. Do you think that you would be comfortable with that? Without the fact that there's like a good food source, I think I would feel pretty nervous. I mean, if I had like a good store and if there was a lot of food, so I would like pick every day, I would get a lot of food, I would store it, then I would feel pretty good. But still, I would like it if there was a grocery store around, just 5 minutes away, so that I could get as much food as I wanted, any food, and I would be safe from any disasters. Food disasters at least. And then suddenly she ran into supper, right? She was disheveled, she was dirty, and she was having all these hazelnuts. And then there was a circuit rider. Who do you think that he was? Well, I don't really know, but since he was a rider, that means that he's probably powerful. And since he isn't referred to mostly as like a member of a family, he must be a traveler, a guest, right? Because mostly she wouldn't expect him. So he's a guest. And she's just running in, and probably the circuit rider, he just really sounds important too. So how do you think that Caddie, do you think that she's gonna survive this humiliation?